Hello, second grade. This is a writing video. Again, this video is going to be very short because what I have done is I have taken pictures of your writing assignments and I'm going to put them on Class Dojo so that you can see them and copy them, okay? Today what we're going to be talking about is the second Roman numeral. Let me get that for you. In our packet, we have this second Roman numeral right here. This is our outline, right? We have our second Roman numeral, which means paragraph 2, and then we have our third Roman numeral, which means paragraph 3. Okay, today what we're going to be talking about is paragraph 2, and we're going to be talking about paragraph 3. What you will need to do is finish filling out paragraph 2 and 3. But I will put pictures on Class Dojo so that you can just copy them down and it'll be easier than just putting pause on the video. Okay, let's begin. So paragraph 2 of our stories, the second part of our stories, is the plot or the problem. And we've been talking about that, right? Every story starts off by showing you the characters and where it takes place, who's in the story, and where it takes place. And then they go on to explain what the problem is, right? There has to be a problem. So what is our problem in our story? We were reading a story about the eagle and the jackdaw. So I'm going to read the story again, okay? A mighty eagle flew down from the sky and took a lamb. Now a jackdaw, watching the eagle's power, felt jealous. He quickly flew onto a ram. To the jacksaw's surprise, he could not lift the ram. Even worse, his claws became tangled in its wool. A shepherd caught the bird and showed the jackdaw to his children. With a smile, their father spoke. He thought himself an eagle, but right now, I'm sure he remembers he's a jackdaw. So, we have a couple of questions to ask ourselves. What do the characters want or need? What is happening in the story? What do the characters want or need? Well, the jackdaw wants to be like who? The eagle, right? So that's what that character wants. And then there's another character at the end, the shepherd. And what does he want? He wants to show his children and teach his children a lesson. That you should want to be yourself. You should not want to be someone else, right? Because you are good. And there's only one of you, right? There's only one of you. There's never going to be another person like you. So the shepherd wants to teach his children a lesson. What else is happening? What do they think? What are they thinking? Well, it tells us that the jackdaw is jealous of the eagle. And let's see what else it's telling us. It's telling us that the jackdaw tried to do what the eagle did, and then what happens? What's the problem? His claws got stuck in the wool, and he can't leave. And then it says, what do they say? What do the characters say? Well, it says here, he thought himself an eagle, but right now I'm sure he remembers he's a jackdaw. So the problem here is that the jackdaw wants to be like the eagle. And when the jackdaw tries to be like an eagle, he fails. Why? Because he's not an eagle, right? And because he's not an eagle, what happens to the jackdaw? You're right. His claws get stuck in the wool of the ram, and he's stuck. And then it says, what do they do? And that's what they did. The jackdaw tried to be like an eagle. Did he succeed? No, he didn't. So that is part 2, right? That is our plot and our problem. That's what's happening. So what are we gonna write? We have a Roman numeral 2, and then we have 4 sentences, or 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do we write this? Maybe you're sitting there thinking, how am I gonna write this, right? Well, this is what happens, boys and girls. We read a story, and I'm gonna ask you questions. And then after we write down those questions, we have 5 sentences to talk about the problem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick 2 to 3 words for every sentence to help us remember what the problem was. Okay? It's super easy. You don't have to use those words when you're writing your story, but it's to help you remember what the story was about. Okay? So for the first one, we're gonna put down Jackdaw and jealous, because the Jackdaw was jealous, right? And then we're gonna put be like eagle, because what was the problem? The Jackdaw wanted to be like a what? Like an eagle. You're right. Then we're gonna put spotted ram and then flew. So can you imagine this Jackdaw? You probably just saw the eagle carrying off the sheep. And what do you think the Jackdaw was thinking? Probably was thinking, that looks easy. I can probably do that. I'm just like an eagle. I can do it, right? So he spots, he looks, he finds a ram, and then he flies towards it, just like the eagle. And then he grabbed, fleece, and pull. Those are the 3 words I'm going to use. Grabbed, fleece, and pull. He grabbed the fleece of the ram, and he tried to pull, but guess what happened? He got stuck. So then number 4, we're going to write stuck, can't fly, right? So we're going to put stuck, can't fly, because he's stuck and he can't fly, right? So that's the end of paragraph 2. Don't worry about this. I'm going to put a picture up so you can see exactly what I'm saying, okay? And number 3, paragraph number 3. This is a new paragraph. Do you see that? It's a different color. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to ask you questions, and then we're going to write words that are going to help us remember what this section was about. So the third part is called the climax and resolution. We talked about this. The climax is the most exciting part of the story, and then the resolution is how the problem is fixed, right? So let's talk about this. How is the problem solved? Well, problem is solved by the farmer laughing at the Jackdaw, right? And helping him. Well, he doesn't really help him. He takes him to his children because he's going to teach him a lesson. So that's what happens, right? What happens after the problem is solved? Well, it doesn't tell us, does it? So now this is where our imagination comes in, and we start thinking about what is going to happen. So let's think. This is where we get to make up that story. So what happens after the problem is solved? Well, after the farmer probably takes the Jackdaw, to his children. And I can only imagine that the kids probably untangled the Jackdaw and probably put it in a cage to play with. Maybe. I think maybe that would have happened. And do you think the children were happy? Yeah, they're probably really happy, right? Because they now have a pet, a Jackdaw. And I'm sure, this isn't nice, but I'm sure the kids probably made fun of the Jackdaw because it tried to be like an eagle. Yeah, that's very true. So that's what happened. What was the climax? What was the most exciting part of this story? I think it was right after it got stuck, right? And you don't know what's going to happen to this jackdaw. Is he going to die? Is the ram going to kill him? What's going to happen? Like, how is this jackdaw going to get out of the problem? I think that's the most exciting part, right? And then the shepherd comes. He takes him home. So how is the problem solved? The problem is that he's stuck. So how is the problem solved? Well, the shepherd takes him home. He tells his kid, don't be like him, right? Be yourself. Don't try to be like someone else. And then the problem is solved. This is where we use our imagination. He's probably put in a cage, and the kids probably keep him as a pet. So that is a resolution. So what we're going to do for that is I already have some words that are going to help us remember the climax and the resolution, okay? So the first one, we're going to put farmer, laughed, and jackdaw, because the farmer probably laughed at the jackdaw when it saw it in the first place, right? Then for the second sentence, we're going to put untangled from ram. Then we're going to put cage for children, because it probably went in a cage for the children. And then we're going to put children delighted. The children were probably super happy. And then we're going to put silly jackdaw eagle. Silly jackdaw. You're not an eagle, right? So this is our story. I will put pictures of these words so that way you can copy it down. So as soon as this video is over, go on Class Dojo, look at the pictures, and copy it down, okay? Okay, I will talk to you soon. God bless you, and todas tuas. Maria.